everybody. Welcome to Lesson 4, Wetlands. I'm joined by my assistant today.
Hi.
Your name?
Tristan.
Tristan.
Professor.
Feeling a little goofy today, so we have dressed up a bit. Today, you guys, we're going to cover, for the 325 lesson, information on wetlands. So we've got some basic notes up here. You will read a little bit more about it in your assignment today. But just a couple really important facts that are in this section that you'll need to know are that, and this is my favorite topic, is that wetlands can be large or small. Most people think they're really, really huge, but there are very small ones. They can be filled with water all year, or sometimes they're not. Sometimes just part of the year, depending upon the weather and where they are. There are 3 types of wetlands. We have bogs, swamps, and marshes. You'll learn again a little more about it in the reading you're going to do today, but just some important facts on each. Bogs contain a lot of mosses, and that water in a bog is very acidic, and that's why the mosses thrive very, very, very well there. That's a really cool one. I was telling you guys in class not too long ago that I spent a good deal of time in bogs when I studied at my first school for my environmental degree. Really cool place, and just lots of really cool creatures and life there to explore. Swamps, you may know, you have a lot of tall trees and shrubs that kind of pop up all over the place, usually in really warm climates, pretty humid, sticky weather. And last but not least, marshes, which are more grassy. You see those brown and green plants called cattails that we've talked about before. Cattails and catfish. And typically shallower water. And again, I just put up here, loaded with tons of organisms, which you'll read about. Your discussion part for today, for 325, will actually be about some carnivorous plants that live in this location. So I'm not going to say too much because you're actually going to do some work with that. But really cool types of carnivorous plants that exist in the wetland area. And the last thing you'll learn about in the lesson is that they are super important and they act as natural filters. Tristan and I today are going to do a little demo, and it's going to show how a wetland is like a natural filter for us and why we need them and why they're so important. So without further ado, Tristan and I will be ready to show you a demo in just a moment. All right, guys, so Tristan and I are back, and we want to show you something that we created today. Had to scrounge around the house to kind of find something that would work sort of like a water table in a way. So again, this is sort of a makeshift thing that we made. You can see here that Tristan's created some Lego houses and trees for us to kind of mimic a little barn, a farm. Where we might have things like pesticides coming off and fertilizers and what that might happen to different waterways. We have our wetland labeled and our lake labeled. Didn't have a sponge that was clean to add to the wetland, but because wetlands can soak up so many things and filter them for us, keeping other water areas pretty healthy, we resorted to cotton balls. So we've got some cotton balls there for that reason. So you can think of those cotton balls as things like the plants and the roots of the plants that are filled in these wetland areas that help to filter everything. So what we are going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to sprinkle some pesticides and fertilizers, but I'm really just using some pepper to mimic that. So we can see what happens here. So let's say the farmland that we have, agriculture produces those pesticides and uses those pesticides and fertilizers for their crops. What happens when we get rain and then there's that runoff that goes into streams and other waterways? So we're going to check this out and see what happens here. So we'll try the wetland side first. And I've got a good amount of water, pour it in there. And Tristan's got the camera on that, so you would expect that that water might just kind of keep going through those cotton balls, but they are really doing a great job of getting saturated and filtering out. I'm going to do some of those pesticides and fertilizer here. Some of those things, and you'll notice that we have the buildup. It's kind of blocking those fertilizers from going any further. If we look at the lake side and do the same, see if I can get it to go over this way. You'll see that it runs right off. I use these cotton balls as sort of bushes or different plant barriers that would soak up, again, just like plants can do. They can filter a lot of things for us. But there is some runoff here, and you'll see that the sediment is kind of staying in the lake there, and some of it ran off down in the valley here area. So that kind of really shows you, especially in the wetland area, what happens when that water needs to be filtered, and how the wetlands do a really great job of filtering out water for us. So two huge things that wetlands do. Not only do they provide habitats for tons and tons and tons of organisms, but they also are huge factors in preventing flooding for us. Because they can hold so much water, that water then doesn't go into other areas and flood them. So that's why they are super important to keep safe. All right, guys, so that is the end of our little wetlands lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed our little makeshift things here. Again, your assignments will be posted today. You're free to start those. And if you have any questions, send me a message. And I think that is it for us. So have a great, great, great evening, and we'll talk to you guys soon.